our cardiovascular and respiratory systems get stressed when we face hotter and hotter temperatures. So this effect is going to be important everywhere in the world as we face a warming climate, but it will look very different in places that have the economic means to respond and adapt to those extreme temperatures than in places where we don't. My name is Tama Carlson. I'm an assistant professor of economics at UC Santa Barbara in the Bren School for Environmental Science and Management. And at the Climate Impact Lab, I lead our work on the mortality impacts of climate change. As the climate changes, we're facing more and more of those extremely hot days. But what really matters is how prepared people are. So for example, we recently saw an extreme heat wave in Seattle, Washington, where we saw tragically many people died. In contrast, if that same heat wave hit Houston, Texas, everyone turns on their air conditioners and very well prepared for that event, and we lose fewer lives to that extreme temperature. So we take a data-driven approach to answering the question of the global mortality costs of climate change. That means we go to historical records and we obtain as many records of mortality events across the globe. We pair that with evidence on historical climate conditions. We ended up with data from 40 different countries representing about 38% of the global population. Historically, we've only been able to get data largely from wealthy, temperate climates where it's easy to collect data, but we really need to represent everyone across the globe, including in poor nations that are likely to be most affected. And then second, we need to think about how populations will be differentially able to respond to a warming climate 100 years from now into the future. What we see is that wealthy locations do see an increase in their spending on adaptation, but that allows them to protect their populations against increased mortality risk. In contrast, today's poor populations are seeing large projected increases in mortality rates because they don't have the resources to spend on adaptation to protect themselves against that rising temperature. It's incredibly important for us to put a dollar value on the risks of climate change because this allows policymakers and private sector decision makers to accurately and fairly weigh the costs and benefits of different decisions that influence emissions. To learn more about the social cost of carbon and how we estimate climate change's impact on mortality, visit our website at impactlab.org.